Okay, welcome. In today's video, I wanted to offer some reflections about the difference between fixed mindset and growth mindset. And I just wanted to link in how that might be tied into boarding schools. Does boarding school create fixed mindset people, or does it create more growth mindset? So, okay. So I have been studying the work of Carol Dweck, PhD, who wrote the book Mindset for a number of years, and it's often something I bring up with clients. It's this idea of fixed mindset or growth mindset. And what I've found over the years is almost all of my clients have cultivated a fixed mindset. Not everyone, but most who've come through the boarding school system have a fixed mindset. So today I wanted to talk a little bit about what's the difference between the two and what are some of the ways that, if we've got a growth mindset or if we've got a fixed one, how we cultivate the growth mindset. And I just think it's really fascinating, just the difference between the two and some of the things that we can do with it. So, some of the basics of the fixed mindset, the growth mindset. The fixed mindset is basically that you believe when you have a fixed mindset that abilities, talent, and intelligence are fixed and unchangeable. This is the way it always is. You either have it or you don't have what it takes. And what I saw, certainly in the boarding school setting, is that because everything was in layers, so the years above and years below, you seem to also have, this system of marks. It's like, okay, people in the top set, people in the sixth set. And I just noticed that those in the top set, right, they were seen as, really clever or they had what it took. But those in the sixth set were seen as stupid or they didn't have what it takes. And so it's almost through the system and the stratification of the year system, but then also the um, the kind of the different years. So I was watching the film If, and thank you to one of my subscribers, one of the men's circle who recommended I watch it. And I began watching it. I've just watched the first 10 minutes, and there's a piece where one of the older boys says to one of the younger boy is asking a question. He's saying, "Oh, I don't understand. What does all of this mean?" And he's asking of the older boy, and the older boy turns to him and says something along the lines of, "You don't talk to me." And for me, that creates the fixed mindset. You know, they're older, they have what it takes. I'm younger, I don't. And the third aspect of the basics of the fixed mindset is that ability and intelligence are God-given and fixed. You either have it or you don't. And you often hear this, people who are with that fixed mindset will say, "Oh, look at Michael Jordan," or you look at Kobe Bryant, or you look at Usain Bolt. They are got God-given talent. And I have read Usain Bolt's biography, and he worked so hard. He used to vomit most times when he was training. And he'd got to a point where other competitors, when he was began training, would always pass him because he didn't train very hard. He went out partying all the time. It was only when he decided to set himself that goal and he worked so hard. The fixed mindset believes that it's innate and God-given talent, whereas those who are, at the top of their game, yes, they have, you know, they're born fit, but the main thing is always mental. And you hear about this a lot in the work I do is peak performance is 90% of it is mental. And then they ask the question, well, how much of your day is spent training the mental? And most people say none or a little bit. So that's why it's really important if you've got a fixed mindset is to start to train yourself. And I'll talk a little bit about that. So what about the growth mindset? So if the fix believes that abilities, talents, and intelligence are fixed and unchangeable, The growth mindset believes these same things can be improved through effort. And if there's one word which undermines and outlines what the growth mindset is, it is effort. What they realized, the Michael Jordans, the Kobe Bryants, they realized that they could put in more effort than anybody else. And if you listen to Kobe Bryant, the basketball player, he would train from 4 o'clock. While other people on the USA team, they were going out partying, he would get up at 4 o'clock and go to the gym and work out. And what happened is he then inspired others. And so this is the key, is effort. And it's to realize that. And when you have children, and this is why I feel that boarding schools, certainly in my school, didn't cultivate kind of a growth mindset, is that with children, you need to praise their effort. Doesn't matter what marks they get. You praise their effort. You go, brilliant, you worked so hard at that. Look at how you tried. Because then what happens when you praise someone saying, oh, you're really smart, you put them into a fixed mindset. You cultivate that. Oh, you've got ability. I felt I was stupid at the school. I really felt, I came out with that fixed mindset. I'm not very clever. But then as I've developed, I've put in a lot of effort, like 20 odd years. It's like I've developed my mind. And that's like through that effort, that growth mindset, we can change, we can develop. So I think that's the first thing, growth mindset. The next thing is skill can be learned or strengthened. This is key. It's like rather than you either have it or you don't, the growth mindset realized that, oh, I want to learn to be a great driver. I want to be like my work, be a world-class coach or whatever it is. It's like we can be that by showing up consistently every single day. I want to be a great runner or a great husband, a great wife. It's like we can train it. The fixed mindset believes, oh, that's just the way I am. Whereas the growth mindset goes, I can change. And it requires effort. It requires when it's difficult, great. It's like, bring it on. Wonderful. Whereas the fixed mindset sees difficulties as like, oh my God, they want it to be easy. The final aspect in these basics here, whereas the fixed mindset believes that ability and intelligence are God-given and fixed, the growth mindset believes that ability and intelligence can be achieved through effort. We can improve our intelligence, we can improve our ability through just showing up day after day after day. And over the last 5, 10 years, I have read hundreds of peak performance, Usain Bolt, read so many biographies. And you see that these guys put in, and these women put in so much effort. They show up day after day after day. I'm reading this book about leadership at the moment, talking about Jane Goodall. And she showed up every day in the jungle. She got that connection with the chimpanzees. No one had managed to do that before, but she kept showing up. It's that consistency through effort. So I'm just going to finish on this. If people want me to go into more depth, then please do. But the fixed mindset, what the fixed mindset leads to, and this is why I really feel this links into the boarding school model and how we see our leaders show up on the stage, is that this leads to hiding flaws and mistakes. Yeah, it means feeling ashamed about failures. Failures are a bad thing, I should have it. I should have it all sorted out. Whereas the growth mindset person, they realize, oh, failures are really good. This is a chance to learn. And it's like I can develop myself through effort. It's like, oh, it's difficult. Great. This is, it's like this bubbly, really warm feeling. The fixed mindset, and this was me for so many years, is like, oh God, I've messed up again. I'm not good enough, and I failed again. I'm a failure. And that was a key belief I came out of boarding school with, was I'm a failure. The next thing with a fixed mindset is we give up easily when we're in that state because we think, well, I should have it all perfect. When we mess up, it's like, oh, and we give up. And the final aspect is being unmotivated to strive for or achieve goals, you know, because, we can't necessarily, it's God given. It should come to us easily. If it's not, and we've got to put effort in, it's like, oh, until we give up. Whereas the growth mindset embraces flaws and mistakes as opportunities for growth. It's like, oh, great. And I noticed, say, in school, if there was someone had a flaw or they made a mistake, everyone would laugh at them. It was the message was, it's bad for you. It's really bad to make mistakes. So you hide them. And I can see that in our leaders during, when Boris Johnson was in charge, it was like hiding mistakes. Oh, I didn't go to the party. I didn't drink. Oh, that wasn't me. And then it's like very much that fixed mindset. Whereas the growth mindset is like, yeah, they admit mistakes. And I'm seeing this in leadership more and more that leaders kind of really connect in with that vulnerability. Say, yeah, I made a mistake. I messed up. You saw that Angela Merkel during the COVID. They put some measures in. It was too much. People kind of were upset. She went on national TV and says, I'm sorry. Did we get that in this country? No, no one apologized. So I can see the difference in leadership. That's Angela Merkel modeling a growth mindset, whereas a lot of the leaders in this country, it's very fixed mindset. Another thing is accepting setbacks as part of the learning process. We get a setback, it's like, great. Yeah, yeah, this is just part of it. Whereas the fixed mindset, if we get a setback, it's like, oh, it means I'm not good enough or I'm a failure and we give up. That was me. I used to give up all the time. Now it's like, I mentioned this when I began my podcast. I got literally 100, up to a couple of hundred people just ignoring me, not getting back to me around the podcast. Now I probably get 5 to 10 requests for podcast guests every week. But at the beginning, it was so hard and it could have been easy for me to give up. Luckily, I had Michelle, my wife, to support me, going, just keep going, keep going. And it was like, begin again. Right, ask someone else. And then the final part is like feeling empowered to reach goals. I was like, oh, I can do this because it's through effort. It's just through turning up. And if I fail the first time, I can arrive at the second or the third or the 100th time. I know that I'm eventually going to get there. And it reminds me a bit of, you know, Winston Churchill saying of if you're going through hell, keep going. If it's difficult, just keep going, you know. So those are just some of the ideas there. I've got this is a really great book and Carol Dweck's book. Really recommend reading it. But yeah, I'd love for you to share your own opinions. Do you feel boarding school gave you a fixed mindset if you went, or maybe even mainstream education? I see that a lot of schools, they teach fixed mindset. They praise your ability. You're really smart or you're really good at sport rather than the effort someone puts in. They might not get great results, but they praise the effort. I'd love to hear what you feel. And yeah, this Friday I've got an amazing episode with forgotten the lady's name off the top of my head. It will come to me talking about leadership and talking about this idea of, she went to boarding school herself and she's talking about, yeah, emotional intelligence, leadership. We'll talk a little bit about growth mindset. So her name is Colette Easton, and she's written a great book. And if you watch the podcast on Friday, she gives her book away for free. You can go onto her website and download it, and it's excellent. Really is really, really great. So yeah, any questions, please let me know. Okay, take care.